Commercial banks comply with CBN's directive on old Naira notes.
INEC chairman and national security advisor meet ahead of March 18th polls.
Police commands and formations receive additional human and logistic support for election security on Saturday.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we continue our conversation on the battleground states in the polls of March the 18th.
All right, now the stage is almost set for March 18th, governorship and state houses of assembly elections. And interestingly, intrigues emanating from the presidential elections make it almost impossible to predict not just the behavior of the upcoming elections on Saturday, but also the outcome. Kingsley.
That's right. Now, 28 governorship seats are being contested for. And states in the eye of the storm, as it were, include Lagos, which has been run by the All Progressives Congress and its precursor political parties, such as the Alliance for Democracy, AD, and Action Congress, since 1999.
Okay, so the upset by Peter Obi's Labour Party in Nigeria's commercial city, that is Lagos, has colored the narratives on who will lead the state after Saturday's encounter.
Now, another state to look out for is Adamawa, where the PDP governed between 1999 and 2015, and then the APC took power from 2019 till date. But surprisingly, the PDP won the presidential elections in that state on the 25th of February, and the incumbent Fintiri of the PDP is contending with the APC's female candidate, Senator Dahiru Binane, who is the only female contesting for the governorship throughout the country. And
indeed, who many have tipped to probably, go home with the election. So I know that female gender everywhere, we're keeping our fingers crossed for.
That's right. Don't remember there was also the late Mama Taraba, who contested for the elections in Taraba State. She's late now. Today, eventually became a minister under the Buhari administration. But of course, she lost not just at the polls, but also in the courts.
We're relying on the support that had been given to her, of course, by the #1 citizen and, of course, the First Lady of Nigeria. They all give their support to this lady. But also, we expect some intrigues and interesting development from Nasarawa and Plateau states as well. And the Labour Party, we know, won the presidential election in those two states, defeating the incumbent APC.
Now, the eyes are also on Rivers, where the APC claimed the presidential polls. But the PDP, of course, remains a powerhouse in the state, and that's because the incumbent governor and the members of the State House of Assembly belong to the PDP. Now, the Labour Party made some remarkable impact, many say, in Rivers.
Okay, we also know that the role that the governor of Rivers also played in the presidential election. But of course, like you said, he's given his backing on the PDP candidates, the SDP candidate, the APC candidate, and perhaps the Labour candidate, Beatrice Itubo, may also spring surprises. But there are apprehensions over the outcome on Saturday in Benue, specifically, where the APC won at the presidential polls. Now, the picture remains quite unpredictable as well in that place.
Now, the leading contenders include Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, who is a Catholic priest of the APC, and Titus Uba, the current Speaker of the Benue House of Assembly and candidate of the governing PDP, but the performance of the Labour Party at the February 25th polls has added another dimension to the contest.
Indeed, it did add so many, it brought, up so many intrigues in the elections, and the March 18th election would also see a lot of interest playing out, especially the governorship race. And in some northeastern states, such as Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and Kebbi, where opposition parties won the presidential election, it will be very, very tough indeed.
Yeah, Claire, thanks. Those states are in the northwest, by the way, just our geography. That's right. All right. Now, other states of interest in the northwest will include Sokoto, where the PDP is expected to fight tooth and nail, as it were, to retain the office. Yesterday, of course, we earlier discussed the situation in Delta and Edo states. Edo is not having its governorship election, only the State House of Assembly elections, just like you would have in Anambra, where there's no governorship election. And, of course, other states that are off-season, 3 of them at least in the southwest, Ekiti, Osun, and Ondo. And, of course, in the southeast, you have Anambra, I earlier mentioned. You also have Imo. And then if you come to the middle belt, it's Kogi State that is off-season. So, Edo and Delta states we already discussed yesterday, and today we'll be taking a look, of course, at more battleground states in the March the 18th elections. It's on that note I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria. My name is Kingsley Osadolo. Thank you for being with us.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. Always a pleasure to have you join us. This is Midweek's edition, and distributing you live on the network service of the NTA from our studios in Abuja. In just a moment, we'll bring you highlights of the morning news. There will be other segments, business, and much later on, newspaper review. For now, let's join our colleague, Comfort Modu, on the news. I'm just seeing you for the first time after a well-deserved holiday. Comfort, good to see you. Welcome back.
Good morning. Very good to see you both. Good morning, Nigerians. And here's the news highlight. President Muhammadu Buhari has been commended for birthing a free and fair presidential and National Assembly election. This commendation is coming from Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State during a courtesy visit to the president in Abuja. Governor Umahi says the purpose of the visit was to appreciate the president and further invite him to inaugurate some projects executed by the state government. One of such projects is the University Teaching Hospital in the state.
A request that Mr. President do take over the Muhammadu Buhari International Airport built by my government, one of the best anywhere in Africa again. And you can see that. I have the pictures here. I will show you. And we'd like him to come and commission the project. We also would want the federal government to take it over. It's quite very large for state government to run.
The governor is optimistic that the coming gubernatorial election will be in favor of the All Progressives Congress. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is appealing to political parties and the candidates to caution their agents and supporters to consider the March 18, 2023 governorship and state houses of assembly elections as a contest and not war. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu and the National Security Advisor Major General Babagana Mungono gave the advice at an interagency consultative committee on election security in Abuja.
It is therefore important for parties and candidates to speak to their agents and supporters to see the election as a contest and not war.
What we do not want to happen is for anybody to preempt and to take the law into his or her own hands. I want to be very, very clear on this.
And towards the election, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, has handed over additional human and logistic support to commands and formations across the country for effective election security management during the March 18th governorship and state assembly elections. A statement by the force says the additional support includes the deployment of personnel, operational vehicles, non-lethal weapons, personal protective equipment, body armor, and anti-riot equipment against others. And also the IGP has ordered the continuous mop-up of illicit ammunition across the nation as part of efforts to curb the trafficking of illicit small arms and light weapons within the country to mitigate any form of insecurity or threats to the ongoing electoral processes and general safety of Nigerians. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police has ordered strategic police managers to deploy the additional distributed operational assets and manpower to ensure the emplacement of a proper security arrangement for the upcoming elections as well. Now, the attention of INEC has been drawn to a widely publicized report attributed to a well-known Lagos politician, Chief Olabode George, that the Independent National Electoral Commission has appointed one Femi Odubiyi, a former commissioner in Lagos State and an associate of a prominent politician, as its head of ICT. INEC National Commissioner for Information Festus Okoye in a statement notes that the name Femi Odubiyi does not even exist within ICT department at the INEC headquarters in Abuja or any state office of the Commission. The INEC staff are career officers of the Commission. None has held any political appointment in any state of the Federation. INEC urges the public to disregard the story. Now, there's ease of financial transactions in Abeokuta, Ogun State, as commercial banks comply with the directive of the Central Bank of Nigeria, thereby disbursing the old Naira notes. Economic activities have picked up within a short time.
We are very happy for this development.
The introduction of the old note bags to the masses will actually at least bring relief.
The banks were just giving us the old notes without any issue.
Another story, the High Court of Yobe State sitting in Damaturu has convicted and sentenced the Auditor General for Local Government Yobe State, Idris Yahaya, to 5 years imprisonment. The Auditor General was convicted after being pronounced guilty of a one-count charge which bordered on criminal misappropriation of more than 19 million naira. Yahya received funds from the Office of the Auditor General for Local Government and Emirate Affairs, Yobe State, for the purchase of an official vehicle, but diverted part of the money to his personal use, and the convict, who was arraigned last year, pleaded not guilty to the count, which sets the stage for full trial. Delivering judgment, Justice Mohammed Lawan held that the prosecution has proved the case against the defendant, and the court consequently sentenced him to 5 years imprisonment with an option of fine. And the court also ordered the convict to pay the sum of 10,100,000 naira as restitution to Yobe State government or serve additional 2 years in prison. And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Claire and Kinsley after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service. And time to talk business. Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, says it is determined to increase the volume of trade between Nigeria and Japan. And we have details on business news.
The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, Saratu Umar, has reiterated government's commitment to deepening Nigeria's investment drive. The latest move is towards increasing the volume of trade between Nigeria and Japan, which currently stands at $10 billion annually, with expectations that the figure will rise in the coming years. This was as the NIPC boss received the Japanese ambassador to Nigeria, Masunaga Kazuyoshi, on a visit. Meanwhile, the Federal Inland Revenue Service says it will continue to deploy technology in delivering customer expectations in real time due to ongoing automation of tax processes aimed at managing compliance to tax payment, increase and sustaining tax base, as well as reducing administrative burden.
We believe that FIRS is gearing towards a future where taxpayers will be delighted to pay their taxes without anybody wielding the big stick for them to comply.
That FIRS is ready to proactively support any initiative that you will suggest to further improve the deployment of technology so that it is the work we do.
In the capital market, Nigerian stocks dipped by 0.12% to record 11% improvement in volume, 10% improvement in turnover, but 9% decline in deals. At the end of trading session, a total of 199.2 million shares in 3,898 deals, corresponding to a market value of 2.813 billion naira, were traded. The current market capitalization is 30.4 trillion naira. Sterling Bank recorded the highest volume of 31.1 million traded shares, followed by NIMET International.
All right, thank you very much for the business news package and Good Morning Nigeria. Coming up next for us now is Newspaper Review.
All right, always a pleasure to welcome Chukwudi Okolie Ugbuaja to Newspaper Review segment. And there's a navy blue, that's my color. Good morning, Chukwudi.
You mean I stole your color?
Yes. Well, not.
I'm not a brigand. Call it coincidence. This is mine. Claire, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I know.
Good to see you. You pop up only once in a week. I noticed. Kingsley, good morning. She's struck down.
Chukwudi the Atomic. Morning and welcome. All right, so let's begin by taking a look at the window pages of some of the papers we have this morning. Beginning with the Nation newspaper. Above the nameplate, let's take some of the headlines. Police place 1 million naira bounty on wanted Bauchi rep. Global crisis likely with collapse of 2 U.S. banks. Federal government reserves $618 million for youth in tech, says Vice President. Be proud of February 25th polls, says UK envoy. Below the nameplate, 3 years after China reopens borders to foreigners, that's of course after the COVID-19 pandemic. Banks limit customers to 20,000 naira over the counter. Branches expect more allocation from CBN. Don't reject notes, say governors. Foreign airlines trapped cash, down $743.7 million. Federal government promises to clear backlog. Flood, federal government to relocate 10,000 persons in Kogi. And Tinubu consoles Kano traders. Details on page 25. Claire.
All right, let's quickly take a look at the Punch newspaper, and it's also leading with the Naira crisis. But it says on its front page, banks ration old notes, while NLC insists on 7-day ultimatum. Details of this on page 2. It comes with 3 riders. Customers lament as CBN retains withdrawal, old notes deposit limits. Again, customer laments as CBN retains withdrawal, old notes deposit limits. Fuel stations, traders, motorists accept old currencies. POS agents slash charges now. CBN mum on disbursement of more old 1,500 naira notes to banks. Welcoming developments there. So let's move on to other stories. INEC will prosecute electoral offenders with speed, Yakubu. And you see the picture story there. Review 1,000 naira NIN fee, council tells NIMSI. It's on page 9. And FRSC blames speeding. 17 die in Bauchi crashes. Details on pages 4 and 5. Now, just a little below, just above the nameplate, dollar shortage, banks slash travel allowance, and foreign school fees. Foreign airlines trapped funds hit $743 million. IATA, that's IATA. It's on page 34. Almost 13 million cyber attacks recorded during polls. Federal government on page 9. Almost 13 million cyber attacks recorded during polls, or according to FG. Fuel price hike imminent over poor supply. Marketers warn. Details of that on page 9. And that's it from the Punch. Chukwuduwaja, Chuks the boy, pick you.
Thank you, Claire. The good news is that fuel stations, the filling stations, traders, motorists are accepting old currency notes. By that, they're of course talking about the 500 and the 100,000 naira notes. The 200 naira, if we recall, had earlier been ordered to be recirculated. Now, following the statement by the CBN 2 days ago, it was expected that public confidence would return and the old notes readmitted into commercial activity. I am happy that this is finally happening. But all these, if I may say so, are procedural observations. The real question for me is, how fast can the hardship experienced by the citizenry over procurement of cash be alleviated? 4,000 naira to get 10,000 naira is not it. I thought my relative was joking when he called from the village yesterday and said that to get 20,000 naira you would part with 8,000 naira. I thought he was joking, but I'm talking about somebody who is my blood relation. He said that was what they paid. So you know, in the village, this question of an online transaction, what do you call it, cashless transaction, is not as profound as it is in the metropolis here.
But that's I mean, I can't fathom it.
Even mercenaries would not charge that much.
No, well, that's not. It's not. It's not surprising.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. But it was the behavior that was very prominent in Edo and Delta states. Because Edo and Delta.
I'm talking from Delta, really?
Yeah, Edo and Delta.
You're right.
Because I got calls saying that, look, they went to POS operators to try to draw down 10,000 naira, and the charge was 4,000. And I said, why do you do that? And why would you do that? Why do you do that? So it doesn't make sense. I mean, it's like you are discounting the naira from the POS. And let's also be very clear. The overcharges or excessive charges that they were talking about, those charges were not widespread. Deliberately, I went to some markets here in the Federal Capital Territory. Let's say the vegetable market in Maitama, for instance, that's the way you get your groceries. 100 naira for a POS transaction.
Oh, yes.
100 naira. Utako market, 100 naira. Wuse market, 100 naira. So, and this just simple transactions. Nobody was charging you, come and pay 5,000. Or if you are buying goods worth 5,000, then you should pay some charge that is like 3,000 or 2,000. No. Here in Abuja, at least in the city, I would say that flat rate for a POS transaction, 100 naira. And kudos to them. You can still go to the vegetable market, of course. Now that perhaps naira notes, old naira notes are back fully in circulation, that probably you would not find that challenge there. Just 100 naira. The only thing was that, I mean, you had network issues with the banks.
Yes.
You know, the
congestion is still a bit there.
I had a different experience from Kingsley's. I remember somewhere, the satellite, someone went to make a withdrawal of 10,000 naira from the POS. And when the person came back, he said he couldn't because 10,000 naira, they were asking for 4,000 naira. And I screamed. I said, if we were in a country or in an environment where you are protected by the law, the legal system,
where impunity does not walk tall. in broad daylight.
You saw that person.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy.
What's happening in the hinterland may be excused a bit because the kind of supervision.
But again, they will tell you that they buy the money
in the urban areas.
Yes,
isn't there?
Yes, they will explain it away.
I think, Claire, we are talking about perhaps two different things. I didn't go to ask for cash withdrawal from the POS operator. I went to buy groceries. And at the end of the day, the seller calculates the price and he tells me, let me give you an example, 4,000 naira. You got the POS, even before we started, he said, yeah. So he calls the POS operator, said, how much am I owing? He said, 4,000. So the POS operator punches it, 4,100 naira. Of course, I get my card, input my PIN. It comes out, but I didn't go to say, give me cash.
As we speak, some fuel stations are taking 200 naira from POS if you buy fuel of 5,000 naira.
No, nobody has charged
me.
They
do.
Nobody has charged
I have evidence.
I won't pay it.
I have evidence. They do. Yes.
No, I'm not doubting
evidence
you
of that. They are doing that. But you see, again, Kingsley, remember I said this earlier on when this cashless policy thing came. I said, in the markets here in Abuja, the traders, the retail traders are getting used to the system. Everyone, the tomato seller, they are getting used to this system. They have, and I went to the market with just my phone.
And that's positive.
Yes, it's a positive development.
What is happening, Claire, is that each of the traders probably doesn't have a POS, but there is a POS operator that services a row. So they will call, and the POS operator has a diary, or if you like, a ledger.
Yes.
That says, okay, madam, this one, you write it. X, Y.
It's almost like a thrift system.
Precisely.
It's communal behavior.
Deliberately, I bought plantain. 1,000 naira. Where is the POS operator? He will call it. It was attended to some other person that came. Okay, where your card? I gave him my card. He posted 1,100. What I bought was 1,000 naira, and I took it from him. And
I think it's a beautiful policy, but it's just implementation. Yes. It's implementation, and then we need to think our policies through before.
You see, Claire,
making public.
This morning before coming to the studios, I was thinking of something. At one level, we were talking about financial inclusion. Financial inclusion. The fundamental qualification for financial inclusion will include analog and digital literacy. In a number of cases, we have failed to educate our people. We have failed to raise the literacy levels, and then we come around to be complaining and saying that we are fighting on behalf of the same people that we have failed to educate. What is the literacy rate in Nigeria today?
That's the point.
What is the literacy rate? Honestly. So you go to, and if a literate population is a tremendous advantage to any
population is an empowered population.
Absolutely. So an illiterate population is where you will get the kind of complaints. Oh, yes. We don't have money there in the rural areas. So, and then people will take advantage of them, particularly those who had stacked and then also stashed away pyramids of naira notes and say, oh, we are fighting on your behalf. You failed to educate these people, you failed to enlighten them, and you find them in the millions across the country, and then you are complaining. And that should be a challenge. How long does it take to transform an unlettered adult into a lettered adult? How long does it take?
What it takes is a will.
Now that you talked about it, yesterday we were supposed to pay a vulcanizer the sum of 1,500 naira, and we asked, if he had an account where we could make a transfer. He said, no, not transfer, me not get account, no transfer. I was said, well, so he said, no, he went to call the POS operator, and the POS operator now said, please, help me tell him that we've been pleading with him they don't understand it. Yes. And it's because they are afraid that when you make these transfers, the money does not reach them, they don't get it. You understand? Yes. So it's not as if Nigerians don't want to go cashless. They really want to go cashless, but you have to make, the facilities work. They have to have confidence in the infrastructure that enable the cashless policy.
The congestion in online activity is inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
We were talking about it yesterday.
Chukwudi and Claire, look, I want to return to that because I feel very strongly about it. How many state governments are passionate about adult literacy education? How many?
My mom benefited from it.
Yeah, and then you keep hearing people talking about changing roof for primary school, changing this one, building schools,
Yes.
XYZ. We're talking about adult literacy programs so that those who are old get some measure of education, and over time their lives get to be transformed. You will see the rainy season will come shortly. When the rainy season comes, you will hear reports of deaths arising from cholera outbreak. That's simple hygiene.
That's because literacy level is very low.
Absolutely.
Chukwudi, I wish we had more time with you today.
We will have... Look, I want to very quickly...
The elections are just... the governorship and the state assembly elections are just 3 days away. I need to say that we need megaphones like you to let the people know.
I'm not a megaphone.
You must inform the people. It's one of the three-pronged approach to TV and newspaper. Look, the voter intimidation some people are envisioning is totally inexcusable. Some ethnic-minded people say, rumors, hearsay, that they're going to unleash a lot of things on people who are not going to vote for people. I think the security agencies must be ready this time around to do their work properly. Voter intimidation or suppression should not be admitted in this century. It doesn't work.
That's right. That's fine.
Yes.
Chukwudi, Claire, please. Earlier you talked about the fact that we have very weak consumer protection regimes in Nigeria. I want to link that to the headline you have there on the front page of the Punch. It's also here on the front page of the Nation. Foreign airlines trap cash, now $743.7 million. Yes, these are monies that they have collected for tickets which they have not been able to repatriate in hard currency back to their operational bases. Airfares out of Nigeria to Europe and the US are the most expensive anywhere in the world.
Can you see where my hand is?
That's right. The most expensive. Well, people have raised concerns about this, but nobody appears to be doing anything about it. Oh, but somebody will argue that, hey, where's your national airline? If you had a national airline, there will be competition. Why would they be charging such usurious fares? That is why you have this huge amount that you are unable to collect. How many hours is a flight from here to Europe? Compare the fare you charge versus another flight of the same duration to another place. Do you burn more fuel? Do you what is it that you do? And the flights are always full. First class to coach.
We've exceeded our time by almost 7 minutes. So Chukwudi,
no, it's not the time, it's the content that we're talking about. Yes.
Well, the producer has been speaking that we must...
I have sealed my lips.
Yes, so Chukwudi, I thank you for sealing your lips. And by the way, do take some time and have some beauty sleep. You need it. All right, let's go for a quick break. Good morning, Nigeria. We'll come back in a moment. All right, if you've just joined us, you're right on time to catch up with our conversation on Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. Now, for our prompt to the second part of our conversation on the battlegrounds come this Saturday, let's listen to some excerpts from our previous conversation yesterday, and it's compiled by Abdul Salam Jibril.
In Kano, the voting pattern will be based on what you have for us, what you want to do. And there are two major horses, you may wish to say, the NNPP and the APC candidates. That is Nasir Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, the current deputy governor, and the former commissioner of works during Konko's administration, Abba Kabir Yusuf. The campaigns, especially with this extension, they are using the time to use media platforms to canvass for their political party, accusing their key opponents for their actions and inactions during their tenure as a government.
The centrality of the elections in Edo State has put Governor Obaseki at the center point of it all. It is about his actions and inactions, at least depending on how people perceive it. Some see he has worked very hard and he has his own style, and some say he's not done anything. The mood in Delta is that PDP may not have it easy. And so we're looking at what will Labour do, making inroad into APC, and that's the outlook of Delta State.
What we are likely going to see on Saturday will be people voting based on different parameters. In Lagos, again, people voted on February 25 on 5 different parameters. They vote ethnicity, they vote religion, they vote on the basis of NSAS, the ashes of NSAS, they vote on the basis of excruciating pains of naira scarcity and first scarcity in Lagos. And then they vote because they just don't like the face of Tinubu. So these are the 5 reasons, but those 5 reasons will not rub off this time.
I want Nigerians to come to terms with the fact that this governorship election is almost as important as the presidential election, because they say every politics is local. What you see on ground, the performance, the roads, the infrastructure you see from the state government, except where you have the federal interventions. So I crave the indulgence of all Nigerians to go into where voting on Saturday. They should come to terms with the realities that if you vote in the wrong person, well, the whole thing, no meaningful change will come.
All right, those were excerpts from the first part of our conversation on battleground states, and that conversation took place yesterday. Today we have another set of guests, including our correspondents. Here in the studios, of course, we have Dr. Adoye Matthew Omale. Matthew Omale is head of the Department of International Relations and Diplomacy at Bayes University here in the Federal Capital Territory. Dr. Omale, we're glad to have you this morning.
Good morning, and I'm happy to be here.
Also here with us is Sani Ibn Salihu, public affairs analyst. Ibn Salihu, good to see you.
Thank you too. Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay. Claire?
All right, so we also have our correspondents joining us. First from Port Harcourt, our correspondent Kingsley Amaljury. Kingsley, good to have you with us from Port Harcourt Network Center.
Good morning, good to have you too.
All right, and from there we'll also go to our Sokoto studio. Our correspondent Dalhatu Abdullahi will be joining us from our Sokoto studios. Dalhatu, good to see you again.
To you all.
All right, now, let's begin the conversation from the northwest of the country, and that's where Dalhatu is at our Sokoto Network Center. Dalhatu, give us a sense of what the issues are in the governorship and state houses of assembly elections that are taking place, of course, in different parts of the country, but more specifically in Sokoto. Many would have thought that Sokoto would be quiet, but there appears to be quite some tension in terms of the permutations of the elections. What's happening?
Well, in Sokoto State, political parties and their candidates have been carrying out peaceful campaigns and we were seeking or conversing for support from electorate ahead of the 18th of March, Saturday, governorship and the state assembly elections. So these campaigns have been going on local government by political parties, that is the leadership and their campaign councils, going to converse for support peacefully without any rancor. And the good side of it is that initially after the presidential and state National Assembly elections, there were some kind of utterances by leaders or political parties making some kind of incitement. But with the intervention of relevant stakeholders and societal leaders, like the Sultan of Sokoto and other stakeholders in the state, that tension of those negative utterances down, and now they are all reversing to campaign and call for peace and unity and stability throughout the electoral processes. And in Sokoto, out of the 18 political parties being approved by the INEC to participate in the 2023 general elections, only one party, that is the Accord Party, had not fielded a gubernatorial candidate. And 17 of these political parties have all fielded gubernatorial candidates, though there are some kind of movement from one party to another, either by way of defecting or by way of trying to form alliance, though it is not so much pronounced by now, but we don't know what the future will tell in the next 2 days before the election or on the election day. The candidates, governorship candidates for Sokoto in this election include the African Democratic Party Congress, ADC, which fielded Dr. Ibrahim Liman Sifawa, former chairman of the State Primary Education Board during Bafarawa administration, and a former principal and a classroom teacher. And we also have All Progressive Congress, APC, fielding Ahmed Aliyu Sokoto, FCNA, former commissioner for social welfare and Ministry of Health, Sokoto State, and then former deputy governor of Aminu Waziri Tambuwal and the first tenure, that is 2015 to 2019. And he's the immediate past executive secretary of the Police Trust Fund. And then we have Labour Party fielding immediate past chairman of the NLC in Sokoto State, Aminu Umar Ahmad. And then we have New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, fielding Senator Umaru Dahiru Tambuwal, the former senator who had been in the Senate for about 3 tenures in the Red Chamber. And then we have the People's Democratic Party, PDP, fielding Saidu Umar. Saidu Umar, the ex-banker, seasoned administrator, former commissioner for finance, Sokoto State, and the secretary to Sokoto State government. And then we have the Social Democratic Party, fielding Senator Abubakar Umar Gada.
Talhatu, thank you. Thank you for the information that you're giving us. But just before we bring in Kingsley Amajiri, I'd just like you to give us an idea of what exactly might play out on Saturday. We know there's really not been, such intrigues coming from Sokoto State in terms of election intrigues. But a lot of pundits have anticipated low turnout on Saturday, given the issues that came out of the conduct of the elections, the presidential and National Assembly elections. Do you think that low turnout, there might be low turnout on Saturday, which might invariably affect your party, I mean, the PDP party?
We are not expecting low turnout generally in Sokoto State for the March 18th governorship and state assembly elections, unlike the National Assembly and the presidential election 3 weeks ago, because the governorship election in Sokoto State is very crucial because the candidates of the major political parties, major contenders, that is Ahmed Aliyu of the APC and Said Umar of the PDP, the supporters of the two political parties across the state are curious to see that their candidates win the election. So we expect large turnout of electorate on Saturday governorship and state assembly elections, because all of these candidates and their party leaders have went round across nooks and crannies of the state campaigning for and canvassing for support, and the curiosity is high for party loyalists. Each of the two contenders have a high play to see that their supporters, in fact, come out en masse to cast their votes. And expectations are high that, yes, there is going to be a large turnout of electorate this coming Saturday.
Thank you very much, Dahatu. We'll come back to you later in the course of the conversation, and when we do come back to you, we would like to our viewers to have an understanding of what the issues are in the contest itself. You said 17 candidates are participating. Accord Party doesn't have a candidate. That's a very useful piece of information. Dahatu from our Sokoto Network Center. In the meantime, we'll pause you. Let's go over to our correspondent in Port Harcourt. My namesake, Kingsley Amajiri. Not Almajiri, but Amajiri. Yeah. So, Kingsley, we're glad to have you on Good Morning Nigeria. Our caption for the conversation is battleground states, and many would say that Rivers is not just metaphorically a battleground, but indeed a battleground. What is the outlook for Saturday?
Thank you, Kingsley. Rivers, of course, we know is always a battleground when it comes to elections, especially when we are talking about the governorship elections. And key facts here is that there are three major contenders to this election. We have 18 political parties for this election, but the three major political parties are the PDP, the APC, and the SDP. But until the last presidential election that we had the influence or the incursion of the obedience, then that brings it to four. Where, from these four political parties, we expect the next governor of the state to emerge. The key issues there are now the sitting administration, which is the PDP, is priding itself that it has done so much in the area of infrastructure and is asking the people to vote its candidate in order to consolidate on the gains that have so far been made. While the APC, which is led by Toyeko, who is the candidate of the party and being supported strongly by the former Minister of Transportation, Chibika Amechi, is saying, the party is saying that, no, look at the infrastructure. What the gains we made in the time during our administration is being eroded by the current administration. All our political gimmicks to gain the votes of the electorate. Then you have the Senator Magnus Abi, who is also a very key, vibrant politician in Rivers State, who is also asking the people for the mandate. On his part, he is saying that he is going to run an all-inclusive government. Then you have the Obedient, the Labour Party. Of course, they made quite impressive outing in the last election, even though they argue that the outcome of that election wasn't exactly what the result they got. The candidate of that party, former Labour chairperson in Rivers State, Beatrice Sutubo, is also asking the Obedient to come out in mass and vote for the party that they are coming to enthrone good governance. And in all of these, the campaigns are also shifting to some ethnic and religious groups. Initially, before the February 25th presidential election, they have gone round for the campaign. But this time around, the effect of that election, the key political actors are shifting to groups like traders groups, religious groups, ethno-religious groups, to woo the electorate to vote along these sentiments. And key in the minds of the electorate in Rivers State, they want to see an election that will reflect the feelings and aspirations of the people. And also, there's a key point that the authorities also need to address. In the last election, though it was a national concern, from the interactions we've had, people are saying that these coming elections, their votes must count. There were incidents where the last elections, the ad hoc staffs were held down by the electorate to ensure that these results are uploaded. And the key actors are saying that after the results have been counted, they must ensure that these results are uploaded. Basically, the atmosphere, except the initial time where we had the attacks on political parties when the campaigns were on, relatively the atmosphere is peaceful and the people are willing to come out and exercise their franchise.
Marjorie, thank you. During the, I think in the course of our bulletins, I observed some of the big names in Rivers State leading their party candidates to the various areas where I believe that they had made political impact in terms of infrastructure development when of course they were serving, and I, like you said, visiting the markets and traders and all that. But considering the fact that all the candidates in Rivers State, none of them is a pushover, they're all major political contenders. What do you think might be the factor of the G5? How might that impact on the outcome or probably sway votes?
Like I earlier on established, no doubt the key contenders in this election, the PDP, who's the candidate Simfuba, who's been backed by the governor of the state, the APC, Toyeko, being backed by the former Minister of Transportation, then Senator Magnus Abe, who is leading his very campaign. The issues are how will this coming administration impact on the average well-being of the average river citizens. People are, some of them are riding on the fact that probably the issue of unemployment, the issue of scholarship, some of them are raising these issues that this administration may have not done from their own perspective very well compared to maybe what the last administration have done. And they are raising these sentiments. These issues are being thrown up. Let's take a look, for instance, the issue of employment generation. The governor only a couple of days back inaugurated the State Civil Service Commission, directing that the employment of 10,000 youths be effected. And the other key opposition in the state, I say, why is this coming up now? That this is politically motivated. The governor said no. He did this possibly because there were the Civil Service Commission was not there. He is determined to ensure that these people are recruited. Then the last administration under Chibika Meji said he did very well. He employed teachers, he employed civil servants, he created jobs, he sent people abroad, that they will reenact this. This is a point that the APC is riding on and say, give me your votes, we will reenact the achievements of the Chibike Rotimi administration in the past. Then don't also forget that I will establish that the obedience, the impact of that obedient movement, you look at the Port Harcourt metropolis, the obedient, the Labour Party won in the state 62,000 votes, that is Port Harcourt local government area. And the key actors will also play a very vital role where this obedient movement will cast their votes. Majority of them will also be a deciding factor. That probably informs the reason why a good number of these key actors are meeting the traders. They are meeting the traders who are majorly from the southeast, who played significant role in the achievement or the result recorded by the Labour Party. So these traders are beginning to be a deciding factor. This community in the state and even the northern communities, they are the candidates and their leaders are meeting these groups to woo them to vote. These are issues that will be part of the deciding factors on who eventually will emerge as the governor of the state come Saturday, March 18, governorship election here in Rivers State.
Just before we allow you to, sip some cup of water, I'm wondering, are there indications to show that or to, show that maybe some APC supporters might reciprocate, the goodwill shown by the governor in terms of, during the presidential and National Assembly elections? Are there indications to show that the APC supporters will abandon their own candidate and reciprocate?
The last election, it was very, how will I say, last election, the governor led his group, that is the PDP, to canvass votes for the APC. But then they said that is a national politics they played. This time around, the game will be automatically different. And now the PDP is saying that we are done with the national politics. We are here for the state politics. You must remember that the PDP have done well from their own perspective. You must reciprocate the good gesture of the roads, the flyover bridges, the infrastructure we have put in place in the state. The PDP is saying that no. I mean, yes, these are what the electorate should be looking at while casting their vote. They want them to reward them for the achievements of the governor. Don't also forget that the APC here in Rivers State also have a strong candidate. I don't foresee the APC abandoning their candidate to vote for the PDP. But you also don't rule out that there are intrigues in politics. There may be cases of people cross-carpeting in terms of voting. But the overall perspective, the PDP is angling that, look, we have done well, vote for us. And the APC is saying, the past administration, talking about the Rotimi Chibuike, who is the strong backer to the APC candidate, say, recall what we did during our administration. It is time for us to go back and revive the agricultural sector, revive the social sector, revive human capital development, revive the economic sector, that they have what it takes to bring these dividends of democracy, so to speak, to the people of Rivers State. I don't see the APC reciprocating this gesture to the PDP. The two candidates, the APC and the PDP, they are very, very much active to ensure that they woo the electorate to get that mandate.
Kingsley Amajiri, thank you very much there for the insights that you have provided. Claire, we just might add, we have the opportunity of going back to him, that at least three of if you like, the gladiators who are not necessarily on the ballot, one of them is, they all were in the PDP at some point. Rotimi Amechi was in the PDP. Jenson Wike was also in the PDP. Magnus Abe, who was Commissioner for Information and later became SSG in Rivers, and then, of course, the Senator, they were all in the PDP. So now in three different camps. We'll come back to you to see whether the balkanization of the votes might then be a factor in who adds up to become the governor or elect of that state. Thanks a lot once again, Kingsley. Now, we'll come back to our studios. Earlier, we introduced Adoye Matthew Omale and Sani Ibn Salihu. Let's come to the middle belt, as it were. For those who are familiar with Nigeria's political history, especially the administrative map, in 1967, we had 12 states that were created, and amongst those 12 states was Benue Plateau State. But after 1996, those states that came out of Benue Plateau then became Plateau, Benue, and Nasarawa. From the presidential election, very interesting developments that we have seen. The governor of Plateau State, who was the Director General of the Tinubu Presidential Campaign Organization or Campaign Council, lost his bid for the Senate. In Benue, we also heard what happened. The governor tried to go for the Senate. He was, of course, defeated in that race. And Labour Party also won in Nasarawa State. The chairman of the party lost his seat, but at the end of the day, overall, the APC won the presidential election. What is it that we are seeing in the, if you like, the former Benue Plateau State? That's to say, Plateau State, Benue State, and Nasarawa State. Let's begin with Ibn Salih.
Well, what is happening in that region will be encapsulated in this, what they say, different strokes for different folks. In if I begin with Benue, there seems to be a major shift to APC from the results in the National Assembly election, House of Representatives, and senatorial elections. And this seems to be like a rejection of the politics of autumn, that people have now probably want to distance themselves from the politics of division that he championed in his tenure. That is why you will find that out of the 11 House of Representative seats, APC got 10 in Benue State. And out of the senatorial seats, APC got 2. These are indications that even though the Labour Party won in the presidential election, that when it comes to the governorship election, they are going to, the indications show that they may be going to the APC. Now, in Nasarawa State...
Why might they go to the APC? Let's explain that here.
Well, the fact is that the Autumn government pursued its own agenda of anti-grazing as the main fulcrum of emancipating the people of Benue State. And people are now saying that with the backlog of salaries and lack of physical development, that people will show that this has been done as in other states. They want to now say maybe it's a matter of regret that they followed their governor in that direction. And so now they want to shift away from that. That is my probable explanation to that. Now in Nasarawa State, it presents a very interesting scenario. Because if you look at in Nasarawa State, the APC lost 2 senatorial seats. In fact, all the 3 senatorial seats. 2 went to SDP, 1 went to PDP, and all were formerly occupied by the APC. Then even in the House of Representatives, APC lost 2, won 2, and the other parties shared. Now, one might think that this will be something that will influence also the governorship election, but it may not. Because, interestingly enough, the candidates of this SDP that were the new entrants that won the senatorial seat in Nasarawa South, that's the constituency of the national chairman of the APC, and that of the SDP also who won in the House of Representatives in one of the representatives constituencies in Lafia. Both SDP candidates campaigned with Governor A.A. Sole's picture to say that they are with Governor A.A. Sole. So Senator-elect Wadada and House of Representatives-elect Abubakar, they campaigned with A.A. Sole's picture. Now, what happened in Nasarawa South West constituency, which is the constituency of the national chairman of the APC, is an infighting between Senator-elect Wadada and the national chairman of the APC. Wadada had wanted to succeed Senator Abdullah Adamu at all costs. And this difference made, when the permutations for the primaries came, Senator Wadada saw the scenario and pulled out. Then he joined the SDP. But he campaigned with A.A. Sole's picture, showing that he's together with A.A. Sole.
Wadada had been a member of the House of Reps on the platform of the PDP for many years. Yes. He had been a member of the House of Reps. So it wasn't necessarily a pushover. Now, if you say that he campaigned with or if you try to ride on the back of A.A. Sule, who is incumbent governor and seeking re-election on the platform of the APC, does that mean that this is just likely to be a vehicle of convenience, flying on the or riding on the SDP to the Senate?
Well, it is certainly so, because but the most important thing to note is the fact that Wadada tried to show that he has no problem with the governor. So he has actually appealed to his supporters to vote for A.A. Sule during the governorship elections. So that is why the incursion of the SDP may not change the rubrics of what people might vote for, but the real factor in Nasarawa State governorship election is the ethnic factor, because now the PDP candidate is from the same constituency, the same senatorial district with A.A. Sule. And you know, when you are contesting the governorship, it is hoped that you will get majority votes from your own senatorial district. If you don't do that, people might begin to say, oh, this will affect your chances. So actually the deciding votes in the south, in the what they call the central district, where the governor comes from, and the PDP contestant, they are going to share the votes there, at least along the ethnic lines. Then the other zones are the ones that are going to probably decide who will be the governor in Nasarawa State. And in Plateau, the scenario is also very interesting, in that it was a two-horse race between the APC and the PDP. Now, with the performance of the Labour Party in the presidential election, now the Labour Party has got a renewed hope. Let me borrow the campaign slogan of APC and slam it on the Labour Party. Now there is a renewed hope. The factor that normally plays around in Plateau politics is religion. But now the religious factor will not be a deciding factor, because all the three major contestants, that of the PDP, the Labour Party, and the APC, are all from one of the major denominations in Plateau, that is the Kokin Church. So if you want to talk about the credentials, the religious credentials of each of the candidates, they are all well grounded in the major church that people of Plateau follow. So it is, even there, you will find that it is the other zones that are going to decide, because all the three major, most of the candidates are from the central zone, the central senatorial district, because Plateau State seems to be following this zoning formula, that when it is the turn of one zone, then you will find that majority of the governorship candidates will be from that zone. All the three are from the senatorial, are from the central senatorial district. So,
okay. So let's just allow you to rest a while, and then bring in Dr. Male. Dr. Male, you've listened to our two correspondents, and of course Ibn Salihu here. Again, just to recap what he said. Some of the states, the so-called battleground states, like Rivers, Benue, Nasarawa, Plateau, Kaduna, and so on. All of these states during the presidential elections, were won by opposition parties. Now, for March 18 election, apart from religion, do you think that incumbency might also be a deciding factor?
Yeah, thank you very much, Claire. I want to just use this opportunity to correct one or two things that Ibn has said. First and foremost, I am from Benue, and I'm very conversant with the politics of Benue and the Middle Belt generally, right from my days in the university. Now, the points he has raised might not actually be true about what transpired in the last election. In Benue State, for example, he said that one of the issues was that most of the policies of the governor was why people voted. No, it might not necessarily be that. I don't think there's anybody in Benue who does not support, including APC people, who does not support the open grazing law. I think it's a given, maybe in terms of implementation. So I don't think that was a major issue that led to maybe the APC winning the state. There were other local issues, especially quality of candidates. There were also issues of performance of the governor in terms of infrastructure and payment of salaries and pension.
Factor too.
Yes, and then the PDP was not as cohesive as it should be. One of the demands of the G5 was the removal of the national chairman. And the national chairman and the governor are from the same senatorial zone. They are from the same senatorial zone. One of the reasons the governor lost was because if the national chairman has brought his weight, because the national chairman is from the Boko axis, there was no way the governor would have won. But the leader of APC is also from Boko axis, where the national chairman of PDP is from, that's Senator Akume. While the governor is from the other axis, the Guma Makurdi axis. The governor was able to win the Guma Makurdi axis. But the other axis where if Yochayu has put his weight and maybe countered the influence of Akume, the governor would have maybe done better than the result that we saw. So there were other local issues that played out, not necessarily some of the issues that he alluded to.
Why was it? I mean, let's so that we clarify this before you proceed. If Iyorchia Ayu, of course, had staked his political reputation on the election as chairman of the party, why, in your opinion, did he appear to be unwilling to pull his weight during the National Assembly and presidential elections? Well, the elections took place on the same day.
Like I said, the major issue was the lack of cohesion in the PDP. The lack of cohesion was basically that the governor was following the G5. And what was the critical demand of the G5? The removal of the national chairman. Because they said that was the agreement before the presidential
primaries.
Once whatever zone that produces the presidential candidate, the national if they not produce the presidential candidate, then the national chairman will have to resign, and then they have to pick somebody from the south. That was a major point of this.
That was a crack, a big crack.
Yes, a big crack. And I never envied the governor. I foresaw what happened because the national chairman being from Benue, and then the governor was on the other side. I foresaw that the governor was going to be in a lot of crisis. Now, don't forget that in the politics of Benue, we have the three zones, zone A, B, and C. The Benue South, where David Mark was from, Senator, the PDP still won, Senator Abamoro still won of the PDP. Now, what played out is that the emergence of the Labour Party. The Labour Party was dominated by youths, very young people. The Herman Hemde, who is in the House of Rep, very young, vibrant young man, is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party. If you look at the three senatorial candidates of the Labour Party in that election, and even the House of Rep candidates in the Labour Party, they were all very young elements. Now they appeal to the young people. Now they vote naturally that should have gone to the PDP, the Labour Party younger elements, who most of them were direct offshoot from the PDP or APC, also created a lot of distortion in the politics of the state. Because ordinarily it was supposed to be a 2-horse race, but it now became 3-horse race. So you discover that the younger elements that were able to pick, because most of the people that picked the tickets under LP, under Labour Party, were those that were denied tickets either in PDP or in APC. So they have to coalesce under Labour Party. So all these things split out with what we saw in Benue. But in the governorship election, it's going to be a very different ball game. In Benue, it's going to be a three-horse race, no doubt. The APC, with coming from the last election with about 8 House of Representatives seats and 2 senatorial seats, will want to go for total victory. But it is not going to be that easy, because the governor is like a wounded lion, because all the issues that has played out, so he's going to give a very good fight. The Labour Party too, with the younger elements, they are going to also give a very good fight. So it's going to be a three-horse race basically. But there's one issue that might determine the governorship, where the people of the Benue South senatorial zone, where they pick their tent. The Benue South, there has been an agitation in the Benue South that the governors have not been rotating among the 3 zones. The zone A and B have always produced a governor. And this has become a major issue. And now the Accord Party was able to give the governorship slot to the Benue South and Dr. Matthias Oigeya. And there's a lot of mobilization that, look, Benue South for once should support the Accord Party, and then even if they are not going to win, they have to make a statement with this election. So that mobilization is going on, and it is going to have a lot of effect, because the 2 candidates of APC and PDP will split their votes in the other 2 zones. And normally the Benue South, which is the zone C, because none of their sons were the major contenders, normally determined when Suswan contested, and even the autumn election, the Benue South, wherever the Benue South goes, split the tie. They are the decider.
The tiebreaker.
So, yeah. But fine. Wonderful explanation you've given us about Benue's situation. But can we extrapolate this to other states? For instance, Plateau.
Yes.
That is on the same belt.
Yes. In Plateau, just like Benue, there is a very high degree of militancy, what will I say, about the Middle Belt cause. Because don't forget that Benue, Plateau, and also parts of Nasarawa, the burden of the Middle Belt struggle, I might take time to explain that. The struggle is that the Middle Belt want to create a niche for themselves within the northern power equation. And the hotbed of this creation of this niche is in the Benue Plateau axis, especially the perceived marginalization of the ethnic nationalities in the northern part of this country. So it is very, very strong. That sentiment is very, very strong in Benue and Plateau. And it determines most of their political direction. So what you are going to see in this governorship election is these ethnic issues. Like in Nasarawa, the Labour Party, I saw the Labour Party has merged with the PDP candidate. And it's purely, from what I see, it's purely an ethnic arrangement, because the Egons also have never ruled. They are the majority tribe in Nasarawa. When you single them, they are the single largest ethnic group in Nasarawa, but they have never been governor for one reason or the other. And why they have not been governor is because they have not been able to put their acts together. There used to be this fight between the Maku and the Wuga camp and so on and so forth. So the Labour Party candidate has been able, who is also a junior Wuga, has been able to team up with the PDP candidate Obugado. And they are forming a very thick alliance. I'm also seeing that even some of the candidates of the SDP, just like he said, they are also teaming up with the governor who is from the other side. So it's going to be an interesting battle between the PDP and the APC in Nasarawa. With the LP going out now and merging with the PDP, is going to be a two-horse race in Nasarawa. And in Plateau, it's going to be a three-horse race. Don't forget that the Labour Party won the election, the presidential election in Plateau. Patrick Dakum is also a very formidable candidate, but that does not take away the quality of the PDP and the APC candidate. Don't forget that the APC candidate is a former INEC.
Also remember
former INEC what?
INEC
Resident Electoral Commission.
Former INEC what?
He was a former, yes.
Not ICT director. Not ICT director.
No, Natewe, the APC candidate, was the former resident electoral commissioner for Benue State.
Dr. Mali, also
that is very instructive.
Also remember that the governor of Plateau State, who lost his senatorial bid, is also the APC campaign director.
Yes.
So he will not, I'm sure, he will also want to fight to finish to ensure that he delivers even, the governor of the state. So he's not going to sit down.
Yes, just like I said, the governor of Benue is wounded. The governor of the Plateau is even more wounded.
I was going to ask a question on the Benue issue by taking us back, but I know that probably it's time for us to go on a break. If we're having a break right now, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll pop my question, and then either of you will take it to explain the situation in Plateau. Very interesting pieces of information and ideas and permutations we're getting from all our four guests on Good Morning Nigeria today. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll continue with the conversation. You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on NTA's network service. We still have our guests with us in the studios, as well as our correspondents, who are also our guests this morning, Port Harcourt, as well as Sokoto network centers. I just want to return to the issue of Plateau before we go back to our correspondents. In 2015, it was indicated that one of the mistakes, if you might, of Jonah Jang, who was then the governor, was in Jang insisting on a successor that didn't meet the sentimental expectations of the people. And that's why the APC took the state in 2015. Are those sentiments still very strong in 2023 to say this must be where the governorship candidate will come from? Ibn Saleh.
Yes, that has been done away with, in that the zoning formula has been adhered to. The governor who has just finished is from the Southern Senatorial District.
Who's about to finish?
Who is about to finish, yes, is from the Southern Senatorial District. And now they have, all the major parties took their governorship candidates from the Central Senatorial District. So that sentiment is no longer there. Generally, you know, the politicians never give up. Particularly, they don't like to accept defeat. So in both the PDP and the APC, some of the people who lost the governorship primaries had even gone to court to challenge the outcome of the primaries. That if care is not taken, both the APC and the PDP may be affected, except if the time frame given for these pre-election matters is the one that will save them the trouble. Otherwise, they both have certain court cases that might affect the candidature of both the PDP and the APC. Be that as it may, that sentiment that came from Jang, because Jang had wanted somebody from the same senatorial district with him and a relation of his to take over from him. And that was what was roundly rejected by the other ethnic groups in Plateau State. And this is absent this time around.
Okay, sorry. Let me also ask you, because the same question I asked Dr. Mali. If you look around the battle states, most of the governorship candidates are, leaning under the support of the incumbent governor. And I asked earlier, I said incumbency, the jinx of incumbency was broken during the presidential and National Assembly elections. In the coming election on Saturday, will it be broken or will it be sustained?
It may and may not. To my mind, the bandwagon effect of the party that wins the presidential, that has been declared winner of the presidential election, may be what will now make some people to say, oh well, we need to move with the party at the center so that we are not left out. And so this may change certain things, but otherwise, if the sentiment, the biggest sentiment that made the Labour Party to win is the anti-Muslim ticket of the APC in the presidential race that really gave the voice of the result you saw in the presidential race in Plateau State. But be that as may, you will find that APC still came second in the presidential race, which is something that shows that APC still has the followership to make an impact during the governorship election. And another factor that would have changed the tide of things, but didn't, is the fact that the NNPP candidate for the governorship, who is a pastor, took a Muslim as his running mate. But that seems not to have made any impact because the endorsements that came from the Muslim community seem not to be considering that. Even though, too, you find that if you look at what the permutations going on in Benue concerning the Benue South gathering their votes for the ADC candidate, in Plateau State, the ADC candidate happens to be a Muslim. He's also from the Central Senatorial District, but he seems not to have also been able to succeed in getting the Muslim community sentiment like it happened during the 2007 election when the Muslim voted wholly for a candidate in another party, not the major political parties. They put all their eggs in one basket to make the statement that Dr. Male was
talking about.
Yes.
All right, Ibn Salihu, thank you very much. Male, it looks like you are itching to
sorry,
very quickly before we go over to our correspondence.
In Benue and Plateau, there are key issues that are going to determine the elections of Saturday. One, the performance of the incumbent governors, both Lalong and Otom. And even to an extent in Nasarawa, the performance of Sule. Voters are going to assess their performance in the areas of infrastructure, in the areas of employment creation, in the area of wealth creation. They are going to assess them, and a lot of people are going to take that decision. The second issue that is very paramount to the middle belt states, the north central states, is the issue of insecurity. Farmers, herders, clashes, and other issues of insecurity that they have been grappling with, especially in Benue and Plateau State. These issues are going to be looked at dispassionately by most of the voters, and it's a real issue. What is helping that issue in Benue is the nomination of a Reverend Father, Father Mbaka-style Reverend Father, who has the healing power, who has been having a ministry. So that the emergence of that Reverend Father has diluted most of those issues, because if you are campaigning that the APC is an anti-Christian party and they have now given their ticket to a Reverend Father, then what are you saying? So the emergence of the Reverend Father has really diluted most of the issues that would have mobilized Christians against the APC in Benue.
But you notice that we've not touched Delta. I don't know.
No,
Delta is another state.
It's another. We had Tony Abolo yesterday. Tony Abolo, a veteran broadcaster, media consultant. He was our guest from the Benin Network Center, and he explained fully the dynamics of the politics in Delta. He also discussed Edo. That was his major focus with us yesterday. The reason I'm saying it is, of course, we still have some days ahead of us. You may want to go back to Delta. Of course, the Bori factor is there. Okowa as an incumbent. And then what the Labour Party might do, whether the Labour Party might be an outsider in that race. I want to go back to our Sokoto Network Center, Dalhatu Abdullahi. Dahatu Abdullahi, tell us something about the factor of incumbency in the governorship and House of Assembly race on Saturday. Aminu Tambuwa, of course, was the campaign. He was on the campaign team of Atiku Abubakar, who came second in the presidential election without count for anything. And who are the main contenders, and what are the issues that voters are likely to be looking at in making their choices on Saturday?
Yes, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, the governor of Sokoto State, is the Director General Campaign Council of Atiku Abubakar, and went around through the PDP to canvass for support for the PDP. And back to the state, yes, of course, he performed wonderfully well as far winning the state for PDP. And the main factor now in Sokoto State is the issue of two major political stalwarts. That is the factor of Bafarawa, the former governor of Sokoto State for 8 years, and the factor of Senator Aliyu Magatakardwamako, who was also former governor of Sokoto State for 8 good years. These two politicians were once together from 1999 to 2007, about 7.5 years. Bafarawa was the governor and Wamako was his deputy. And from then they parted and never agreed to belong to the same political party. So now, under these people, Bafarawa is the chairman campaign council for PDP in Sokoto State. Wamako is the chairman campaign council for the APC in Sokoto State. And you can see now the face-off between the two of them, and this energizes the tension between PDP and APC in Sokoto State during electioneering campaigns. And after the presidential and national assembly elections, there was some kind of social media comments by these people, which seems to trigger another tension in the state. But with the intervention of the relevant stakeholders and personalities in the state, that they begin, or they have since begun to see reason for reversing back their social media comments and started to be calling for long for peaceful election to guarantee stability in the state in the overall interest of the population of Sokoto State. And then the mathematics made by these parties, the major contenders, the APC and the PDP, in selecting their candidates, all the gubernatorial candidates of these two major political parties are from Sokoto South local government, Sokoto South local government, within the metropolitan council areas of Sokoto State. And they selected their running mates, these two parties, from the same senatorial district, Sokoto East, and not only that, from the same House of Representatives constituency, that is Isa Sabon Birni. APC's running mate is from Sabon Birni, PDP's running mate is from Isa, the home local government of Governor Bafarawa. So these are the issues that are making some kind of incitement in the seat of the caliphate. But however, now that tension is being dozed down because security operatives at their level have taken a gigantic action to say that nothing will be spared when it goes contrary to the peaceful atmosphere in Sokoto State on Saturday, the 18th of March, governorship and state assembly elections. So these are the issues on ground, and now that relevant stakeholders have taken action. For Governor Tambuwal, he is now waiting for the review outcome of the INEC concerning the National Assembly election in Sokoto State, because all the elections of the 3 senatorial seats in the state, and 10 members of House of Representatives seats are still undergoing review by the INEC, and it's only when INEC finishes that review can now make a stand on what is going to happen. So Tambol is waiting to hear the outcome for his own Senate seat he's canvassing from the Sokoto South Senatorial Zone, trying to uproot the incumbent serving Senator Lambaba. And for Senator Wamako now, it's a face-off between him and the serving Deputy Governor of Sokoto State, Manir Muhammad Daya, who is now contesting the same seat, trying to upset the Senator Wamako seat, who is looking for the 3rd term tenure in the Red Chamber. So this is the issue now in Sokoto, the state of the Caliphate.
Right, thank you very much. Let's now go back to Port Harcourt, where Kingsley Amajuri is. Kingsley, correct me if I get my facts wrong. I know that since the time of Dr. Peter Odele, this will probably be the first time when we are having all major candidates, governorship candidates from the riverine areas, except, of course, for Beatrice Utubo. I think she's from Port Harcourt. Magnus Abe, that's the SDP governorship, is from Ugonibera. Fubara is from Upobo. Tonyeko and Briggs are from Calabari. How might this affect, the chances? Considering again, Magnus Abe, who is from Ogoni, and Ogoni, has been one of those areas that allege, gross marginalization and all that.
The facts are correct, like you just rightly stated. Magnus Abe is from the Ogoni axis, and this group have been agitating that they have not produced the governor, the deputy governor, and even the speaker of the State House of Assembly. And Ogoni is a major block when it comes to election in Rivers State with 4 local government areas. And how that these local government areas also vote will also get to count. Will the Ogonis go alongside with their son, Magnus Abe, will also count in this election. Magnus also is a strong contender in this election. Magnus is coming, riding on the grounds that he is presenting himself to the people of Rivers State. He does not have any godfather. That has been his major campaign, that if he's elected, he will ensure that there will be adequate wealth creation for the people of Rivers State. He is riding on the fact that he has been in government. He has held both legislative and executive positions in terms of appointment. He has the experience to bring to bear to the administration in Rivers State. That is also a factor. His running mate is coming from the Ahoda axis of the state, and you also know that Ahoda axis has not also produced neither the governor nor the deputy governor. So that also will also come to play. How will the Ahoda people play along when it comes to voting in this election will also count. Then you come to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Sim Fuba, who comes from the riverine or the coastal community, coastal local government area. This set of persons or group of ethnic nationalities have also been agitating. The people within the coastal side of the River State have said since the creation, since Bayelsa State left, they have also not held the executive position of River State. And the Calabaris are also a major ethnic bloc in River State. There you have quite a good number of candidates, but we have the APC candidate who is also a major contender in this election. We also have the Accord Party, Dumo Lulu Briggs, coming from that axis of the state. These issues will come to play. And also how the Calabaris will vote will also have a very large impact on whether the governorship will emerge there, because we have so many candidates from that axis. Will they split the vote from that Calabari region? We also have an impact in this election. You talk about Beatrice Utubo, who was the former NLC chairman in Rivers State, she is riding on the fact that the incursion or the impact of the obedient movement in the past election, and she also driving from the perspective that she is coming from the workers' union. She has been canvassing the fact that workers have not been promoted in the last 8 years or thereabout, and also the issue of employment. She has also been throwing these cards to the electorate. These are factors that will play a major impact. And also, like I said earlier on, the governor, talking about the performance of the governor will likely also count for the candidates of the People's Democratic Party. Don't also forget the former Minister of Transportation, why he held sway as the governor of Rivers State. He also did quite a number of impactful developments, and that also, because he himself has been going from one community to the other, beyond the general campaign, he has been leading a door-to-door campaign, so to speak, to woo the electorate to vote for the APC. These are factors that will play a key role in these coming elections here in Rivers State.
Kingsley Amajiri, thank you very much for the illumination that you have provided. And the assumption is that those factors you itemized and explained will be relevant in Saturday's elections, all things being equal. But at the beginning, when we were welcoming you to the conversation, we did say that it is not just as a metaphor that Rivers is a battleground state, but indeed bullets do fly in the course of elections. So if the guns do boom on Saturday, and of course you are unlikely to rule that out, will all those factors still count for something?
The expectations are very high on the security agencies. No doubt, bullets, you can't rule them that away in elections in Rivers State. Very, 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 very pertinent. And people have been urging the security agencies to be on the alert. But the concerns are still ripe, because when you look at the last elections, we interviewed a number of these corps members who serve as ad hoc staff. Quite a number of them told us that at the point of collation and the uploading of these results, when they were having issues, a number of these security agencies personnel that were attached to these polling units disappeared, and putting these corps members' life at risk. And we also have incidences, take for instance in Omoma local government area, and where there are reported cases allegedly that people made away with ballot boxes in connivance with some security personnel. These are issues. The issue of bullets, gun running battle, you can't rule it away. That also brings to bear the need for the authorities to deploy more of this personnel to Rivers State. Indeed, it's an issue that we don't rule out in elections here in Rivers State.
I honestly, I wanted to stay with you and ask you just one last question, if we may. We've really spent our time, but quickly, if you can answer me in just 60 seconds, please. I'm just wondering the experience that the candidates bring to bear in terms of, governance, and again in terms of political experience. Now, maybe not all of them, are said to have that robust political experience, but they are deputies. I know the PDP candidate has as his deputy Dr. Ngozi Odu, who has been in government, for as long as I can remember. Also, if you talk about the APC candidate, he's been in the business circle. A lot of people think that he comes with little political experience. How might that play out on Saturday? Oh dear, technology.
Well, I'm sure we have all we'll have the opportunity of returning to that very critical question before the elections or in the course of the elections. I don't know how much time we have. We don't have much time. We've left out Adamawa into this conversation. Again, we'll have the opportunity of returning to Adamawa because that's another state to watch out for. I'm saying this because we have a female candidate in one of the major political parties.
Indeed.
And to use the metaphor that you have said, the wounded lions. You said Otom is a wounded lion in Benue. Lalong is a wounded lion in Plateau. And we might also say former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who ran for the presidency on the platform of the PDP, is also a wounded lion in Adamawa. So how might all of this play out in Saturday's election? That's an issue, of course, we'll have the opportunity, we hope, of getting into. On which note, Claire, I think we'll thank our guests.
All right, so we say a very big thank you to you as always. We do appreciate you making this program your morning breakfast show. And that's it on Good Morning Nigeria. Thank you for watching. I am Claire Adelabo Abdul-Razak. Always join us in our campaign against rape and rapists. It's still on.
Well, just Claire, I thought we were going to appreciate our guests formally as we normally would at the program. But regardless, we want to thank you, Sani Ibn Salihu, public affairs analyst, for the insights you brought into the Middle Belt political equation. Dr. Matthew O'Malley of Bayes University, we also appreciate you for being our guest at all times. From Port Harcourt, my namesake, Kingsley Amajiri. We thank you very much. If the bullets are flying, please stay safe on Saturday. From Sokoto, the city of the Caliphate, Dalhatu Abdullahi, we appreciate you being with us on the program this morning. And best of luck in the coverage of the elections. On which note, once again, we thank you for being our viewers on the program today. Tomorrow is yet another day, same time, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Don't mind me.
I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
I'm a youth. I'm always, in a help. Yeah, of course. Of course. Listen to
that's youth.